A very good afternoon to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, my students, honorable guests, guests of honor, dignitary HODs of our department, our deputy administration, Dr. Prasanna Kumar Linda sir. So a warm welcome you to this auspicious occasion when we are celebrating this Global Awareness Day. I request all the dignitaries to come on the desk, please. I request
थोड़ा सा साइड
I request all the dignitaries, Professor Subhash Bhanik sir to come on the stage, please. I request our Deputy Administration, Dr. Prasanna Kumar Linda sir to come on the stage, please.
काम साइड में साइड में
ऐसे रोटेट होके नहीं हो रहा है ऐसे नहीं हो रहा है
I request the HOD of Occupational Therapy, Mrs. Rupali sir ma'am to come on the stage, please. And our chief guest, the State Commissioner for Personal Disability West Bengal, Madam Neelima Das Gupta, on the stage, please. Please give a big applause for all the dignitaries who have spent a lot of time for us. Please welcome all the dignitaries to come on the stage.
साइड करो साइड करो मेरा हाथ तो था
So, from the Department of Prosthetics and Orthotics, we are going to celebrate this Day with Global Accessibility Awareness Day on the premises of National Institute for Locomotor Disabilities, Divyanjan. So, from a small token of movement, a small token of pleasure, I request all my students to felicitate our visiting guest, guest of honor, and all the dignitaries HODs on the desk. Please give a big round of applause for this moment. State Chief Commissioner, Madam Neelima Das Gupta. Thank you, ma'am, for giving a lot of time for us. Professor Subhash Bhanik sir, Professor HOD Department of Mechatronics, ISTC for Howrah. So I welcome you, sir, for giving us kindly time for us. Thank you, sir. Now I request our HOD Occupational Therapy, Madam Rupali Sen. Thank you, ma'am. Now our own HOD and Deputy Administration, Dr. Prasanna Kumar Linda sir, is all the guiding factor for all of us. Thank you, sir. Now, and the program coordinator, Mr. Atatana Patra sir, to make this function. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. Now, I would like to request all the dignitaries to please stay forward for lamp lighting.
for enlightening us with this moment of candle. Let this candle spread the happiness. Let the candle spread the wisdom. Let the candle be the knowledge for all of us. Now I may request Dr. Abhishek Mishra sir, please to come on the stage, please. Let the voice be bliss us. Let the soul sour us. Let the melody encourage us. With this enchanting voice from our dear student for this inaugural song, for this auspicious occasion. I request all our students, beloved students, who have prepared for a small token of love to pour the joy.
किसके बारे में?
Now may I request our students to facilitate Dr. Abhishek Viswas sir. A small token of love from all of us. Please give them an applause.
Thank you, Mr. A.T. Bhatta sir for welcome address.
Good afternoon to all. Welcome to this Global Accessibility Awareness Day. I welcome Srimati Dasgupta, IAS, the Chief Commissioner of Disability, who has given her time from her precious time to be with us today to grace this occasion. I welcome Dr. Professor Subhasis Bhomik sir, the Professor and Head Department Mechatronics at IIST Sikkim, Howrah. He is the key speaker today. You all will listen to him. Dr. Abhishek Vishwas sir, ex-director and in charge of services of NILT Kolkata. I welcome Dr. P.K. Linka, our Deputy Director and HOD Piano. I welcome Dr. Rupali Sen, HOD OT. I welcome Dr. Praveen Kumar, HOD PT, and department heads present here, the all staff, faculties, and the officers, students, who are the NGO representatives, and the media persons who are present here. I welcome all of them to hear our guests and come enjoy the program. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, now may I request our HOD and DDA, Dr. P.K. Linka sir, to say some brief words.
Good afternoon. It's my privilege and honor to address all of you on these key points of this day. Respected Nilanjan Dasgupta Madam, Chief Commissioner Disability, Government of West Bengal. Respected Professor Bhomik sir, is the Dean Academic Research and is Head of the Department of Mechatronics and Robotics, and also departmental staff of Department of Aeronautical and Mechanical Engineering. He is also academic committee member and one of the best support person in our academic sphere to us, to me, to our fraternity. His presence is also a moral booster for all of us. Respected Dr. Vishwas, Madam, Surpula Madam, Praveen ji, all other in charges, departmental heads, students, and also NGO representative. This day of the Global Accessibility Awareness Day, this day has been selected by our department, our section DPWD, to celebrate all over India. What has been reported to me, there are 80 places all over India. This day has been, today we are celebrating. Even if it has been directed to us to show the streaming video on today's occasion. So the kind of participation, the kind of enthusiasm and the students' involvement, it's inspired to all of us to mark this celebration, to mark this occasion a memorable day. Before that, why this day? What is the importance of this day? We all know still little bit history. The history of GAD or Global GAD, one of the entrepreneurs, John Devon, and founder of a company, a digital agency called Diamond, he proposed this day, the third Thursday of the May, to celebrate as Accessibility World Awareness on Accessibility Day. The background of the day is the content of social media, content of internet, content of digitization of the world is nowadays is essential, not important, essential to live with. So, to accessibility of that content is very, very equally important to all of us, including our Divyang friends and Divyang people. So, without mobile phone, without laptop, or without computer, even if we today also for day-to-day affairs like taking classes, doing research, taking study material, writing some synopsis is essential. So the digital content is heavy, and that day he felt in 2011, he felt why not to be remembered throughout the world? Why not the day should be celebrated to make a rememberable day so that this impact of this day the benefit of the impact will pass to the Divyang Bandhu or Divyang friends. You know, the digital world, mostly dominated by the internet browsers like web accessibility or web access, including the memory devices, is so high or so heavy. So the content and the quality is governed by this custodian, a committee. So to do it, there are many companies which you can say the richest company of the world. They also like starting from Apple, Google, Microsoft. They all deal with this digital accessibility of digitization. So this day is very important. We the front players who deal with the disability or who treat the disability to prevent the barriers to access the digital world, we should know what are the important aspects of digitization accessibility. So the key of the day or the importance of the day to celebrate, to make awareness, to make an impact all over the world, all over the society, that the Divyang friend also have equal right to access the digitization process. Like just for an example, if I say an amputee without two upper limb or without, if say I say transhumeral amputee, without any finger or without any control, how will you use the mobile phone? How will you connect to the world? How will you transact the bank? Nowadays everything online, starting from degree certificate to disability certificate to OBC certificate, even to small token of Panchayat Raj system like this Pata, Dalil, Bagara. Everything is online. So who are they? How can we exclude them? So the answer is technology. That is the technology which can overcome this barrier, and we also feel they are also equally responsible to our society for our GDP growth, our national growth. So the point to be remembered, there are total around 130 crore. WHO estimated 16% of the world, 16% is very big. They suffer some sort of disability. They need to be included. They need to be included in the mainstream of the society. So the key point is this number or this percentage we cannot ignore. People says, data says 1 out of 6. Europe says 1 out of 9. India says, as for 2011 census, around 2.68 crore population, they are suffering from some sorts of disability. So they all need accessibility. They all need inclusive society. So for this, we should celebrate the day for the awareness of the people, and this day should create an impact that the technology or the awareness accessibility technology is essential for inclusion of Divyang. Very time short, so we'll speak on the topic assigned to us. Thank you all. Thank you organizer to allow me to speak.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us that the technology should be at the doorstep. So with the theme, keeping the technology accessible for everyone. Now my request, Dr. Abhishek Mishra, sir, to speak a few words on this global accessible awareness day.
Good afternoon. All the dignitaries on the dais, my students, and all others present in the auditorium. This Global Accessibility Awareness Day, it is being observed probably since 2012. Initially, it was the idea that to make the website accessible to all the people, including the persons with the disabilities. But nowadays, gradually, the idea has been expanded, and all the digital platforms which are now available should be also accessible to the persons with disability. That is the idea we are now developing. Because we now want the inclusive society. Without them, our society cannot progress. So all the digital platforms that should be made available to the PWDs also. That is the basic idea in observing this day and to create this awareness that any form of digital platform that should be with the idea of inclusion inclusive idea, and with all the types of persons with disability should access that digital platform. And we know that this digital technology, it is a boon to the persons with disability. They can overcome many of the hindrances with this technology. And without help of this technology, even we people are nowadays feel ourselves handicapped. So with this idea, this type of days are being observed, and this is a great opportunity to create the awareness regarding this idea. And I will thank to the organizer that they have organized this type of program to make the professionals who are just in a budding form in different courses of our institute, and they will be aware regarding the importance of these days, and they will also take care in future. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishnu sir, for your valuable words. Now I would like to request Mrs. Rupali Sen madam for a few words.
Good afternoon, everybody. Especially respectable Madam Nirandana Dasgupta and our Bhumik sir, Professor Dr. Lenka and Dr. Abhishek Vishwas and Mr. Organizer, Mr. Patro, and my all colleagues, seniors, and all students and other colleagues. Actually, this day we are celebrating today that we can remember that accessibility is so important in our life, mainly for the PWDs that is 10% of the world population. Actually, we are availing all facilities. All facilities means everywhere, not only the technology, in every space of life, and also in the other area also, just like transportation and bank and other facilities. My paper is there, and that time I discussed that along with the other facilities, that modern technology also, that just like the computer use and phone is so essential in everybody's life. So these facilities, so that PWD also can use and can part of the society, and this is a social inclusion. This is so important in the modern time and in our life. That is very, very important, so that they can also add it in our society as much as possible. All facilities they can avail. That's why this accessibility day we are celebrating. Anyhow, my paper is there. In that time I will discuss. I will not waste my time, because our respectful madam and Sally also is there waiting. And that's why again I am thankful to invite me as a speaker, to organizer and the department and all of you. Thank you very much.
Dr. Professor Subhashit Bhomik sir, Professor and HOD, Department of Mechatronics, IISc for few words. I would like to request Srimati Nilanjana Dasgupta Madam, IAS, State Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities, for few words.
Distinguished guests in the dais and the august audience, good afternoon to all. I first thank to the institute and the organizer to invite me in this occasion. Today is Global Awareness Accessibility Awareness Day. Two words are there, accessibility and awareness. Accessibility itself is a little bit alien word to the common people. The persons who are associated with the works of for the PWDs, they know the word, they are familiar with the word accessibility, but accessibility word is not so much common who are not within this framework. And the second word, I think the awareness, it is the most important word for today. Accessibility can be for, we all know in this room that what is accessibility, and there are technical sessions, but the most important thing is awareness. How we can aware the other common people, other ones, especially the organizers. Just now we heard about the accessibility of the digital platforms. After so many years, the RPWD Act was enacted in 2016. After that, 7-8 years have been passed. Now we are quite familiar with the accessibility for related to the infrastructure. Even for digital platforms, accessibility for in respect of website is now quite, the website developers are know there is a standard forms. But for other platforms, especially for financial transaction platforms, how we can aware them, how we can make them do whatever the necessary steps. That is the real challenge. And I feel that institute like National Institute of NILD Locomotive Disability and with other resource organization, they should take very effective steps to aware these persons, these organizations, these institutes who are actually in making of digital platforms. The users are there, but who are actually developing these platforms, they has to be aware. I think that is a Herculean task, and we have a long way to go. But we can make small steps, and we can plan for short-term objective, for long-term goals, how we can achieve them. And what I felt as a Commissioner of Disability, that lots of deliberations are needed. There, I am just talking with Dr. Lenka that there is a very structured SOP and others for digital platforms. But whether all concerns are aware of that, I doubt that, I don't think that they are aware. What are the actions we need to take to make them aware? That is the real challenge of the day, and I think after today's awareness workshop, there should a definite pathway has to be developed, how we can do that, and what will be our objectives, and what we will achieve. At least after 1 year, after 3 years, and after 5 years, we should have a roadmap in front of us. I wish that today's workshop will be very successful, and definitely we will get some pathway, some vision for our task basically. Thank you all.
Thank you, madam. enlightening us how we can reach our accessible to this global and the way the disability can assess the awareness. The technology should be at the doorstep for enhancing. Thank you, madam, for this auspicious time, for sharing with us and giving us enlightening about the disability. Now we are moving to our next session, of the technical session. So I request all the dignitaries to take their seat on the desk.
क्या चीज़ अच्छा ऑडियंस भी अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा
It's taking 1 or 2 minutes for preparation. So our Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disability, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, they have planned this event for a grand success across the country. What I discussed, about 65 institutions and 80 places, this event is going on. The purpose is to make the technology accessible and usable by PWD, and these seminars or webinar on this topic like accessibility to website, social media platform like YouTube or Facebook, Twitter, all social media platforms, tablet, mobile phone, PC, as well as the banking system, what Madam discussed also. You know, banking system is very important. Nowadays, phone banking or Google Pay or any Pay or phone banking system supported by a payment gateway. Payment gateway is a secure server where it lies somewhere else. So to access it, payment gateway, we need a secure browser. That means the kind of browser what we have, the accessible browser, most of the secure browsers are not accessible. So that's point to be today, not today, in some other place. That will be discussed. Ministry they have for this celebration. Okay. So the today's celebration shall further strengthen the mutual confidence and interoperability of the institution. As per the need of the PWD and also enable sharing of the best practice. The exercise will be yet another milestone in strengthening digital accessibility in continuation with the accessibility or the barrier break of communication, physical and attitudinal barriers. So focus of this awareness day is although digital awareness, but also will not skip the physical accessibility or physical barriers, communication barrier, attitudinal barrier, technology barrier, social barrier, and all we will discuss it today. So I would like to invite our first speaker, Professor Subhasis Bhumi, to talk on the subject of digital inclusiveness and some topic related to R&D of this project, which will definitely give us some knowledge regarding the latest development of this technology. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So now we make a technical session for the proper awareness. So we have our team seated and listen sir's voice. Sir, please.
Good afternoon to all of you. Myself Subhasis Bhumi from ST Shipur, Howrah. And today I will speak about the present status and the future of digital accessibility. Now let us first initially I give some information that we are working in the area of orthotic and prosthetics from the technical point of view. And practically speaking, I do not have that much of expertise and the knowledge in the field of digital accessibility. But somehow, after getting the invitations on Monday, okay, so I said that okay, I will try my level best to give some sort of informations to all of you. I will share few informations with all of you in this particular field, and I will also show you some of the work that we are working in the area of orthotic and prosthetics. So I take this as a good opportunity for me to show some of the work that we are working in this particular area. Now this Global Accessibility Awareness Day, it was launched first in May 2012 and it is observed every third Thursday in May. And basically its target is that the designers, the developers, the other peoples who are the creators, the users, they should come across with this term of digital accessibility. And this digital accessibility part, it includes the web pages, it includes the different types of softwares and the hardware devices that is built, that is supposed to be operated by the disabled persons, the mobile phones, which is also supposed to be used by the disabled persons. So this digital accessibility awareness program is not only for the website development, for the access to the website, but also it deals with the different types of hardware and the software tools, the technologies, the technological tools, the devices that is supposed to be used by the disabled people. So we find that over 1 billion people across the world, they have the disability and they are affected by the inaccessibility according to the WHO. So you can find that 1 billion people throughout the world, they are of visible in nature. The question still remains, why are accessibility considerations are considered as a low priority? And most of the time, we considered about the accessibility
बोले खड़े
of
रह के
the
पकड़ने के
digital
लिए
media
खड़े रह के पकड़ने
only after the development of the software or the hardware pieces. So sometimes it is a time restrictions. Because of the time, one cannot go for the checking that whether the software or the hardware is accessible by the disabled people or not. Sometimes to make the project cost as low as possible, we do not think about the problems that a disabled person may face due to the working with the hardware or the software tools. So the digital accessibility can make a lasting differences for the people with disability. And these tools can also be used for the education purposes, the employment purposes, the wealth creation purposes, societal inclusions, and the civic participations. So this digital accessibility is required for in the field of education. It is required in the field of employment of the person with a disability. It is required for the whole creations of the society, of the country, of the nation. It includes the societal inclusion and also ensures the civic participation of the disabled people. So we find that there are 1 billion people are there in the worldwide having disability. And all of us we know that there are mainly 4 different types of disability. It is shown here that the visual is one, hearing, the motor disability, and the cognitive. So I understand that most of the cases NILD is handling with the motor related disability, but there are other disabilities are there, and maybe this NILD is also taking care about the cognitive disability. If you see the definitions of disability, there is like a dictionary definitions part as per the dictionary. So the disability means a physical or the mental impairment that sustainably limits one or more major life activities. That is known as a disability. If you see the accessibility, it means a person with a disability is afforded equal opportunity to obtain the same results, to gain the same benefits, or to reach to the same level of achievements in the most indicated settings appropriate for the person's need. And the accessibility is about the flexibility. So this is very, very important. The accessibility is basically it implies flexibility. And flexibility is one of the properties. So whenever any product or the services is provided, always there is a need that it should have a flexibility inside it. So in other terms, in other forms, you can say the accessibility is basically equivalent to flexibility. And then there is another term is here, which is known as an electronic and the information technology. And today, we are basically concerned about this digital accessibility awareness, and which is basically deals with the electronics and the information technology. If you see the form of digital accessibility, it should ensure the inclusive community that is committed to the value of the care for the whole person. And there is a striving to ensure that our technology is accessible to the individuals with the auditory, cognitive, neurological, physical, speech, and the visual disabilities. There are 5 different accessibility smart subjects. Number one is only a small percentage of my users need an accessible or wearable website or application app. This is wrong. So in most of the cases we think that whatever we are developing, either it may be a digital form of hardware or software systems, it will be used by a very small percentage of the users who need accessibility. This assumption in itself is a wrong assumption. It proves that this is a wrong assumption. Number two, it will take too much of time or the effort of the money to make our websites or our applications accessible. So in most of the cases we understand that whatever we are developing, it requires too much of time or maybe it will require too much of fund. If I consider that this particular product will be accessible by the disabled person. And this is also a false statement. Number three, digital accessibility is a one-time only task for the developers. So most of the time the people who develop the hardware and the software part in the digital domain, they think that this is a kind of one-time investment of money or this is a one-time investment of time. But this is also wrong. It requires that each and every moment, whatever we have developed, whatever we have developed earlier, that needs to be upgraded further. Because there may be a requirement of accessibility by any users who have a different types of disability. So in most of the cases we think that the disability may be from the vision part or maybe from the hearing part, disability is there. But a person may have different types of disability. And whenever this software part or the websites or the hardware devices are developed, you must keep in your mind that this device may be required to be used by different types of people having different types of disabilities. So our assumptions that digital accessibility is a one-time only task for the developers, it also proves to be wrong. Number four, accessible websites and the apps are plain or ugly. Whenever a website is developed or it is designed, in most of the cases the designers think that if I make a website a very simple one, then maybe it will look ugly and nobody will be interested to go through that particular website. This is also proves to be a wrong statement. Because of the facts, always the simple things, the people prefer the simple things. So if I make a simple things which will serve the purpose, then there is no requirement that unnecessarily we should not make a things a complicated one. So most of the cases we find or we think that our software systems, our website, our applications must be a very complicated one so that the people will go through that particular softwares, which is also proves to be wrong. And number 5 is I use some automated testing tools so my website or the app is now accessible. Most of the cases nowadays what happens, there are government regulations are there. So once a hardware or the software are produced or developed, it needs to be checked for its visibility, accessibility by the disabled people. And most of the cases what we do, we generally do a very shortcut method of testing the accessibility of our products. There's the softwares, whenever the government agency or the audit people, they ask that whether your product is accessible by the disabled people or not, we just give a tick mark. Product is accessible. But in most of the cases it happens that this particular product is not accessible by all kind of disabled peoples. So I used some automated testing tools. Sometimes we declare that we have used some automated tools because these automated tools has already developed in the by the computers people. And once you develop some software products, you have to check your product for the accessible peoples, okay, whether it is accessible or not. And at that time, we just use these simple softwares to check, to verify that whether it is accessible or not. And most of the cases we give a tick mark, okay, and we can say that this is also not correct. So what we think that our products, my systems or my softwares, that whatever I have developed, it is an accessible products for the disabled peoples. This statement is also good to be a wrong statement. Now at the bottom you can see the figures. The bottom figures you can see that the left hand side. The left-hand side, it indicates that the people with the disability. Okay. So the accessibility of the software and the hardware by the disabled people is very, very poor. And wherever you see that the people getting older people, to some extent that the software and the hardware is accessible. And in case of an average users, in most of the cases that the software is an accessible one. So the special emphasis must be given those who are associated with the developments of the websites or the software products for the disabled people. They should understand the people who are visible. So in most of the cases we find from this chart that whatever we develop, this is not at all acceptable by the disabled people. India digital accessibility law. And in India, the public and the private organizations have a legal responsibility to provide accessible content for the people with disability. And however, the nation's law would not identify a universal set of standards to define the accessible content. So there are laws are there. In India, we have the accessibility law. But in this law is not well defined. Okay. And in most of the cases, it has been said that once the software, the hardware is developed, it must be checked for the disabled people. But actually there is no clear-cut rules, regulations, or the process is there, procedure is there, that how a person will check the developed hardware and the software things. So in 2016, the Rights of Persons with the Disability Act, it was passed with the Parliament. And the law replaces the earlier legislations and provided the clear guidelines for the digital accessibilities. The private organizations, they had the 2 years of time period to comply with their hardware and software products related to the disability. And this disability is this right of persons with the Disability Act. It defines a term which is considered as a reasonable accommodation. So what is meant by the reasonable accommodation? This has been provided in this particular law. It says that the necessary and the appropriate modifications and the adjustments without imposing a disproportionate or undue burden in a particular case to ensure to the persons with a disability the enjoyment or exercise of rights equal with the others. So you can see that this is a subjective type of terms. Okay, numerically it does not indicate anything, and it is only a kind of appeal, okay, through the law that each and every persons or the organizations, those involved with the development of the products related to the disabled people, they should check the accessibility of their products. But to what extent this product is accessible for the disabled people, it has nothing, it does not speak anything about that.
ভাই কাউকে ধরতে বল
There is this is a 7 factors that influence the user experience, which is known as UX. Okay, and say for example, valuable, accessible, desirable, editable, then findable, usable, useful. So these are the 7 characteristics. So whenever a digital product is developed, okay, one should check about these 7 parameters. And these are the very vital parameters, which is known as the 7 UX parameters. You see that there is a word like the power of the wave is in its versatility. Access by everyone, regardless of the visibility, is an essential aspect. So the website, when it was developed, okay, it has been given in emphasis that regardless of the disability of the person, each and every website must be accessible. Number one. And then we see that when we design something that can be used by those of the disabled persons, we actually make it better for everyone. This is 100% right, or more than 100% right statement. So if I make something which is usable by the disabled people, which is accessible by the disabled people, it automatically ensures that the quality of the product will be improved for the general people. We make for the disabled people, if the disabled people can use that particular software as a hardware part, then naturally it indicates that the normal people will feel more comfortable in using that particular product. So these are basically some of the points which is known as a self-imposed task. Okay, like we have to take the leaderships. Okay, you should not speak too much, but at the same time you should show more and more. They can use the technology, or they can take the help of the technology. And then we must stress the need to ensure the full and equal participation for all the people in the society. And there must be protection of the person with a disability in the situations of the risk and the humanitarian emergencies. So this is one of the important aspects of development of any digital product. Like whenever we are thinking about the disabled people, there must be some kind of protections for these people in case of emergency situations. And, we must work together. Okay, we should make a society which is of inclusive in nature, and we need to invent, lead and support the representative organizations, different organizations who are dealing with the persons with the disabled people. So, and disabled people, they must have the strategy needs to be turned into the relative to protect the right of the persons with the disability. So the disabled people should know about their own rights, and the disability rights must also be considered in all political decisions. Sometimes in some decisions, political decisions, this disability concept or disability part is not taken care of, but it is emphasized that in any kind of political decisions, this disability concept or disability criteria must be taken into consideration. The perspectives of persons with a disability should also be considered in the crisis response, including the pandemic and the weird situations. So whatever is required for the disabled people at that time, that must be provided by the society. So ultimately we can say that accessibility removes the barrier and unlocks the possibilities. The disabled people, it indicates that we are removing the barriers in front of the disabled people, and this basically unlocks the world of possibilities. And not just a feature or an afterthought, but it is a lifetime. That means that this particular concept that each and every product must go through the digital accessibility test. Okay. And this must be an integral part of the product. And it should not be thought about, it should not be thought at the end of the development of the product. Say for example, whenever a car manufacturer is manufacturing a car, he should think about the disability people at the very beginning of the design of the car. It's not like that the car has been developed only we add some features in this product, this concept is not correct. So we should change our attitudes, okay, and this should be considered as an integrated part in the development of any product. So we can say that accessibility in India, so there is not much really. It indicates that we have not done much things for the digital accessibility. Okay. And there are lots of things that we are spending, maybe from the institutions level, from the government level, from the society side, and we have to work together to make our each and every product accessible for the community. Thank you. I'm unable to do it. This is a kind of artificial hand developed by our students, okay, and made by 3D printing systems, 3D machines, and it can be very low cost ones that can be used by the digital people also. They can wear these kinds of devices and they can work at least in a restricted area. They can work. Otherwise, what happens is most of the time they are wheelchair ridden life. So they have a very pathetic lifestyle. So at least while wearing this kind of devices, it is possible to work inside a restricted door. Artificial ankle foot prosthetics, and this is the first bell, and you can see that the people in the system is very automatic device. This is a wheelchair, and this is an automatic kind of wheelchairs, and this wheelchair is not only operated through the joysticks, but it can also act based upon voice. So through the voice you can say that you want to move in the forward direction or in the backward or the left or the right directions. So the vehicles, this wheelchair can follow your instructions. This is a kind of tools which can be used by, this is basically a robot-like, okay, and it can be used for disabled persons with neurological problems. Okay. So you can think that the robot can also act as a friend for them, okay, and it improves the mental state of the persons, or it improves the conditions, the mental conditions of the persons. And now the people are using this kind of robotic systems, okay, and they just play with the disabled people, and the disabled people will learn the different types of gestures from this kind of robotic system. So this robot, this machine itself, it can act as a mentor for the disabled people. problems, okay, and so that in most of the times the caregivers must be alert, okay, and this is a kind of electronic system to get alert in caregivers so that the caregivers can come and change the postures or the positions of the person. Okay. So if somebody is sitting for a continuously for a longer time period, then it needs the attention of the caregivers, and this system can give a alarm, some kind of light alarm or some kind of alarm the system will produce, and which will give an alarm to the caregivers, and then the caregiver will come and then displace the person's positions. So basically it is considered as a force plate. Okay, it's a pressure mat, and this pressure mat you can use it in the sitting chair, okay, at the bottom of the sitting chairs, and I end up here. Lot of things now developed for the disabled people. Okay. Even for the training of the disabled people, people are using the software tools. There are very specialized software tools which will give a training, a particular training to your disabled people. I have the review with me that the people, those who cannot move to the different places because of the physical disability. Okay. Now you can bring the total world in front of the person. Say for example, like if I want to see the different places in the Calcutta, there are software tools or there is a technology known as peer systems. Okay. So this is a virtual augmented reality and the virtual reality. It's an engineering concept. And through this augmented reality and the virtual reality concept, it is possible to bring the each and every product or every places, particular locations in front of the persons of the disabled persons. So there is need for the disabled persons to move physically, to move to some other person, some other places, to look that particular locations, to see the particular locations. So technologically means a lot of work. People are doing a lot of work in this particular area, and mostly the software side. Okay. Now the people are very cautious. The society is also very alert. So the thing is that the ultimate, what I say, that the takeout of this particular talk would be like that we must develop the products. Okay, either the hardware or the software, whatever may be, whatever we are developing, we must think from the very beginning, from the very conceptions, from the very beginning of dreaming of that particular product, that these products must be accessible for the disabled. It should not be an afterthought process. It should start at the very beginning of our dreaming process. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Bhomik sir, for an wonderful speech on accessibilities through the disabilities people. Now I request Dr. Prasanna Kumar Lenka sir, HOD and DD officiating NILD for the session.
Good afternoon. Due to this hot humid weather condition, I could see if this I make the 10 minutes if Madam permit. Otherwise, we can conclude the session. We may do a complete workshop on accessibility. So I will take only 5 to 10 minutes. So बच्चे देखो ये फर्स्ट लाइन में so what we could see the wheelchair is confined to a particular place. वो कहाँ जाएगा? There is no possibility of movement. He is totally stuck. That is the barrier. That is the barrier where we are making the disabled more disabled. That means when a person can't move, can't communicate, can't access, that means that what is disability? Not able to do the function. So the person in wheelchair is completely disabled now. So you see, the alternate solution is a simple ramp that has been incorporated. Just for the picture I'm saying, हर कोई रेलवे स्टेशन में, हम लोग जितने रेलवे स्टेशन में जाते हैं सबको सच बोलना है, कितने लोग रैंप पे जाते हैं, कितने लोग सीढ़ी में जाते हैं, सीढ़ी में कितने लोग जाते हैं, में कितने लोग जाते हैं, रैंप वाला हाथ उठाओ, हटा, सबको रैंप में जाते हैं. That is called inclusive society. Inclusive society means भाई हम भी चले उनको भी चलने दें. This is the main theme of the inclusiveness. Then how to do inclusiveness? That is of technology. What is technology? That is called assistive technology. Assistive technology, that means is already there are a lot of talks on the discussion of data. You know, lot of people are suffering from disability. To the main database. So that means it is not increasing day by day. So I'm not going to talk on that. The only time is, you know, how to equate, how to make equality. So the diversity, you know, diversity, why I'm saying diversity? Each case of disability is a specific condition. Each case means we need a particular home environment. There is a word called environment control system. That means every individual, to make the diversity, we need the technology. So inclusiveness, how to do, how to equate with us, how to make them to work with us. That means we have to change the pillars of the democracy. Executive, they should thought of this. Policymaker, judiciary, legislative, all they have responsibility. People do policy, execution implementation is also there is a lagging. So accessibility for all is the good practice. That is the thumb rule, accessibility for all. You people are the young nowadays. Time will come, you will be older. You need accessibility, you need ramps, you need visual assistive device, you need hearing assistive device. You know, there are a lot of studies. Article 9 of the CRPD, United Nations Convention. This mandates state parties, mandate like countries like us. We have to do accessibility. This is essential feature. Being a nationalist should also, our duty is to do all accessibility to physical. Talk about what are the barriers to this. Basically, already discussed. I will not go with that. What are the common barriers we face? What are the common barriers to accessibility? Most of the important barrier is the physical barrier. There is a, you can say the most in the pyramid, the base is physical barrier. Road, transport, building, government building, you will find the disabled are discriminated. In spite of deliberation, in spite of awareness, the achievement is 8 to 10%. But still, it is going up. So this awareness will give an impact. So it is not like that it is a huge investment. Only the mindset, only the guideline, the provision. Similarly, if you see the diagram, the communication is the way you talk. अभी तक आप सब लोग हम लोग गर्मी में अभी डिसेबल हो गए, all are disabled now. Why? Because the environmental factor. AC नहीं चल रहा है, गर्मी हो रहा है, so we are disabled कि नहीं? So that means little bit AC also affects us. So that means technological barrier, attitudinal barriers. What are the policies like RPW Act तो पास हो गया, 39 तो mandate कर दिया, 39 to 40, article section 39 बोल दिया कि भाई करना है, इनहेरेंटली accessible नहीं है. That means accessibility को खाली बोलने से नहीं होगा, उसको काम में करना होगा. Programmatic, all the program, transport. So now what is the solution? The most important solution is the technology. Madam ने पूछा what is the SOP? Yes, the standard operating procedure for digital media that we have. But we need a complete workshop. That means 255 matrix is there. Each matrix, we need separate set of audience. So today is just to conclude what I should say, assistive technology, because the topic assigned to me is the technological part. Lot of technology, technical gadgets like it's an umbrella term, including prosthetic orthotic, including mobility aids, including activity of daily living, all including assistive technology. That means any technology, any piece of equipment, any service, any product which enable the disability to equate us or to make the functional, to get the barrier free, to break the barrier is called assistive technology. So there are a lot, means you can say hearing, vision, cognitive, speech, communication, learning, lot of gadgets. It's huge. So environmental control unit, there are a lot of technology today. I will not discuss all these things. I am just going through at a glance. You know what I want to say, the technology, you can say thousands of technology, thousands of devices. People should know how. समझ हम चश्मा खोल के देख पाएंगे, देख नहीं पाएंगे. ये चश्मा कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है. That we should feel it. A simple चश्मा, a glass can make the person visible. Low vision वाले, जो ब्रेल भी देखते हैं, जो जिसका हम लोग सपोज अभी चलेंगे ब्रेल नहीं है, कैसे चलेंगे? ब्रेल लगाने के लिए बहुत पैसा लगता है क्या? नहीं. That means we should know the brain, tactile senses, those who get embedded in the wall, that is essential for inclusiveness. So that's all. Because of this condition, I don't want to speed up it. Just my last slide. Make the thing right, real. How? This is an ancient strategy. The worldwide people have made a strategy. Make the thing right, real. And the true spirit, whatever right has been given to the PWD, that should be really true spirit of the mind, true spirit of the heart. That means we all should feel. आप लोग सबको ही 10-10 में से सबको भेजना पेशेंट को भाई एक्सेसिबिलिटी होगा. एक दिन इंडिया 2050 में पूरा एक्सेसिबल हो जाएगा. इंडिया will be completely accessible. This is the government strategy. So all the development should be socially integrated to the mainstream of society. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for an honorable session. Now I request Dr. Rupali Sen, Head of the Department of Occupational Service, for the next session. Rupali ma'am will discuss here and accessibility. Ma'am, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. My topic is rural area and its accessibility. Actually, before Professor Romik, sir, and also Dr. Lenka has discussed about the technology in all aspects. Only I will discuss about the accessibility in the rural area. Because you know that main problems are there in the rural and also in urban India till now, because due to the lack of accessibility, our disabled PWDs cannot access the same facilities. Introduction, that India is a country with the fast population, and you know that unfortunately we are suffering from lack of infrastructure, and that improved accessibility also needed for that. Additionally, the rights of the person of the Disability Act, we know very well. I will not discuss here, including on transportation, public buildings and infrastructures. Everything should be accessible to the person with the disability. Building in rural areas, that mud house and others are available in this. Accessible buildings in the rural areas, one entrance, every building should have at least one entrance accessible to the handicapped and shall be indicated by proper signal. This entrance shall be approached through a ramp together with the step entry. Means that one steps should be there and ramp also one side. Minimum clear opening of the entrance door shall be 900 mm and it shall not be provided with this step which obstructs the passage of the wheelchair user. Threshold shall not be raised more than 12 mm. Actually, village people do not know about the measurement anything, but we will discuss that so that your wheelchair can be reached to your door, so that there always a ramp should be there. Next. That we see that entrance of the door, actually that should be broad, means extra wideness should be there. You see that so that they can enter the wheelchair, the small ramp and door stool. If the wheelchair is not possible inside of the room, so that time is trolley type of rollator we can use. You can see in the picture that the narrow wood ramp that can be used in the village area inside of the room. Then accessible pathways and walkways. All pathways should be firm and slip resistant. Actually, the slippery, that ramp should be not slippery. There should be some resistance. Pathways and corridors should be wide enough for wheelchair users. Provision by safety cars around unguarded fountains. Curb ramps with a tactile warning. And the color contrast. Actually, that in the village area, these coloring or curbs, these are not possible. But government, just like BDO office, hospitals or bank, post office, they should know that things, that ramps, how to make just rough warning color should be there, tactile warning should be there, so that the slippage or accident may be prevented. And you can see the tri-wheeler, and they can carry the luggage, so that the space should be there in village area. Then accessible pathway walkers, that is accessible roads. And roads also, how to make that also, PWD actually engineers are there, and they should train the magnet already there from 2005 they are working on this at central government rule, and that provision for getting some open drains also, drains should be covered so that the wheelchair can be passed, and zebra crossings, everything should be on the way in the village area, actually on the road. And you can see the village area, that improvement of walkers and stails means from the wooden wood also we can make the handrails and different type of support so that the community people can be avail the facilities. And the rural playground. Rural playground actually, that in that the village people, so that can children can play with the normal child also, because they have also full right to come play in the common places also. They should avail the facilities. So in this way we can convert their playground. Then inclusive playground for all, there's ground surface, accessible equipment, sensory experiences, clear, secrets, and safety and security. That all things should be available in the playground so that they can easily avail the facilities. You can see the picture also, same that wheelchair can be raised in the different playground that can be made. And in left aspect you see that simple with the wooden bamboo they can make the facilities, and for the common child and as well as the disabled. And the rural toilets we know is a very much problem, because they can, now you can village area or rural area, you can see the schools with the ramp. But till now the toilets, the problem are there, they cannot use the toilet due to the lack of modification. So that should be there. You see that some gap or wall attachment should be there in the toilet, so that they can use with the also with the classes and games and others also. Simple thing also can be made on the bamboo support, and potty seat can be done the small child, and also in the wheelchair also we can use the adaptation. Then in the measurements and units, accessible toilets are preferable. Different standardized measurement they are for also, so that the disabled person can be, PWDs can be used at toilet. Then simple area, the rural market, you see that if they are selling the vegetables from the ground, they cannot avail that area should be raised. Simple modification can be done so that with the wheelchair, tri-wheeler or with the other model person can, they can buy this vegetables market and others also. Simple area also, bus stop also, you have seen that bus stop there is no, till now there is no modification is there, not in rural, in urban area also. In bus also how they will get up, that is the problem. So that also in simple way the modification can be done. And I think in future will be done in the bus and also in the bus stop, so that they can easily get up in the bus. Just see the train. Train also getting up the train from the wheelchair, that is also very difficult. So in this way that grab bar should be attached in both side rail, so that easily that wheelchair from wheelchair to train they can avail. In the that also some flight is there, but in train is not there in the platform. But this type of arrangement can be done, especially for the wheelchair persons. Again from the rural post office, that ramp can be done beside of the ramps, beside of the then accessible bank, same facility should be given so that the PWs can happen. And also in village area, Anganwadi schools in the urban places, if they sit on the ground, that is a problem for the PW children. That's why that schooling, the wheelchair should be arranged so that they can sit in the proper way, and adaptation also can be done in the chair. In this way we can adapt that lying position also they can attain, and then have special chair and table they be arranged in the school, in village school, so that they can maintain their position during schooling period. Then rural drinking water, you know that the level should be same, everybody knows. but there is no arrangement for that, only the normal can. But this way, if you can arrange so that they can avail that drinking water also. So these are the all facilities so that they can avail, and role of the occupational therapy is there. We know that we are advising the disabled person also different sectors for adaptation and modification, and advertising policies also different there now as per the government rules, and that can be done so that they can avail the facilities also. They can think that is theoretically it is possible, till now practically not possible. If we can arrange in this day, celebration will be successful. Thank you very much. These are the references.
Thank you, ma'am, for a nice presentation. Now, next speaker, Gangadhar sir. Please come. Sir will discuss the accessibilities on the user perspective. Sir, please.
Good evening, all. I will speak related to accessibility from the viewpoint of user perspective, because since I am the person with disability, I am also using the accessibility devices. Like I am using a crutch, I am using a caliper to move one place to another place. Isn't it no? I think you all are watching. Now we are burning topic is accessibility. So accessibility is very, very essential for a person with who needs the assistive devices. Accessibility is a broad term. Don't think accessibility is a technology based. Accessibility is very, we can say citizens needs different type of accessibility. The persons with locomotor disability are required different type of accessibility. The persons with visual disabilities, they need different type of accessibility, and different type of disabilities, they need different type of accessibility. Okay. Since disability rehabilitation, right? Disability rehabilitation, since screening and identification, thereafter treatment. In the part of treatment, we usually go, we are all the rehabilitation professionals who are in this hall. We usually provide physiotherapy, we usually provide occupational therapy, early intervention, and different providing aids and appliances. These are all to make the individual, to make the person with individual disabilities to lead life like normal person. Isn't it? Because ultimately, why the rehabilitation is providing to disabled persons, he or she has to become independent in day-to-day activities. For that only we are providing rehabilitation, disability rehabilitation. So now, in the disability rehabilitation, accessibility has come. It is not a new term, it is an old term only, but it is a broad term. The accessibility in different way we will use. So accessibility, how much is important to make a person with a disability to independent? It is countless. It is, means there is no words. Example, I will tell you in user perspective. In my point of view, I am telling, accessibility is very, very important. See, for example, if I want to come to this dais to say something, I need accessibility, either ramp or railing to come up. Isn't it? If it is not there, then I have to put so much of stress and physical stress. It leads to mental stress. So that what happened? So we will not, persons with disabilities, if they get the physical stress or mental stress, they may not lead normal life. He will feel different, isolated or separated from the society. So accessibility having the major role to become normal, leading normal life by the persons with disabilities. See how come it is very essential. For example, in my case, see where I was in childhood, I was crawling only in the this thing. So later my parents are placed me in the rehabilitation center. There I got a surgery. There I got a physiotherapy. There I got a medicine appliances like a caliper. Then I started moving from one place to another place, like home to school, home to college, home to office. Now I'm coming office because of the accessibility, because of these aids and appliances. Today I'm here. I'm in front of you all people. Okay, today I'm working as an extension service officer in this institute because of the accessibility, because of the aids and appliances, because of the rehabilitation professionals who are working in this field, especially. So accessibility. So my thing is that, so I request all rehab professionals to create an awareness. And see in this occasion, I'm requesting you all create more and more awareness to in the accessibility awareness. So that is very essential in the day-to-day life. You cannot see India is giving so much of rights, so much of facilities, but which are not reaching to the real people. Like those are in the rural people. See, we are talking about the cities are okay. We have a taxi, we have a auto, we have a tricycle, we have a motorbike, we have so many facilities. But whereas you think about the rural people, they reach to one place to other place, one place, home to college or school, it is very difficult for them. So, what can be done? What we can do? What can be, could be possible to do something or make them mainstream those people. So in this way we have to work on it. Okay. So we are main thing is that accessibility. You know how many members knows Sugamaya Bharati app? Sugamaya Bharati app. See, this is created by Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Okay, this is very simple. How it is simple? This app you can download in our mobiles. Okay, wherever you go to cinema, you go railway station, you go post office, you go bank, you go wherever you go. If you see there is a abstract, there is a difficult, there is no accessibility by the PWD. Take a photograph, upload in this app, and give a one caption, place where it is happened. Then that matter it goes to relevant department, relevant officials. Then they will take the necessary action. This is one type of easy way to create awareness among the people. Okay, so this I want to share with you people. Thank you organizers for giving this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful presentation. Now the last presenter of the session, technical session, and additionally, sir have two more jobs. As speaker as well as sir have to discuss the entire technical session as well as the vote of thanks or valedictory sessions. So you have three jobs. First you have to speak your topic. Second, the discussion of the entire session. Third is the valedictory. So please welcome Dr. Tripathi sir. Okay.
Good evening all. If my voice is accessible. Okay, so I am reporting a case which few days earlier we as a team from institute gone somewhere for checking the accessibility of an premises. Okay, so I'm just from there, what is we found. We cannot report the exact thing, but we can what we have found there, that I'm just reporting. So normally we know what is the
accessibility already many speakers have given all the reports. So I'll directly go into the barrier-free guidelines, what it says as per the UNCRPD, and then case report I will provide. So the barrier-free guideline, what it says is that whether the internal or external, all the structural thing, physical thing must be accessible, and for that they must use universal designs. Now universal design means, what is universal design is, it must have these things like it reduces the later cost. If it is a universal design, anything which is universal, it will not be remodified. It will remain same. That's the main things about the barrier free or universal design. And they must be simple. Already it has been discussed. Can be used by every person, right? This is something. And in case of our building, like in our institute or anywhere where there is issues, then there is a need of retrofitting, or that means we can do some modification in our buildings in order to make them universal design or near to universal design. Safety features and design for day-to-day activities. These are the basic principle or basic things about barrier-free, accessible environment given by the UNCRPD. Now, simple a case report I am giving here. A person, actually we have been gone for access audit of our premises. It was because of a person, Mr. X, 58-year-old office staff in a government building. Because we don't have consent, so we cannot put the name. So this was the person for whose reason we had to go for the access audit of the building. Now, as per this was actually requested or given order by our state commissioner, and therefore by order of office we had to go for checking the audit of the access, or you can say how the building is. So the main purpose of this, why I am reporting, is to check what is the challenges faced by a PWD. Already Sir Gangadhar sir has given his perspective, and I will just add one more perspective, what we have seen somewhere in the premises. It's just a varied picture, just a picture from somewhere. It simply shows, you can see there is a bilateral transtibial amputee. Now, if this patient whom we have seen, he was the same condition, he was having a bilateral transtibial amputee. Now, we all are, as a P and O, we know what is the condition if a person is losing one limb. Now, when somebody is losing two limbs, that means he is very much depending upon the prosthesis as his initial home. It's like his home. Just like wheelchair is also said to be the home for the very immediate connected thing to a wheelchair user. Similarly, a prosthesis in the case of bilateral amputee, same condition. So he is also very much attached to his prosthesis. Now, a patient whom we are talking about, he was having certain problem with the accessibility, where we gone for the accessibility audit. So what he was saying, we can see here, what was his room condition. He was living in a ground floor room, still he was having trouble with the accessibility. So what was the main difficulty that he was having? First of all, he was a bilateral amputee, he was using quad cane with the quad. And he was having an injury on the left side stump. And he was rarely using the... Okay. So let's just see what was the challenges he faced. If the pictures are clear, can you see? So it simply shows the staircases. Now for a bilateral amputee, without any handrail and rail there by the side, and there is the staircases. So this is the trouble for him, how he will be going inside the office. When you see the ramp, which was not a ramp but it was actually for motor vehicle roadside. So this was the condition. So if this is the condition, how can the person with this much of condition, bilateral transtibial amputee, can go access inside the premises? Inside is office room. So accessing inside, because he's a bilateral amputee, we can understand base of support needed is more. Now for him using a cane also, which is a quad pod. So that again is a trouble. So these are the trouble we can see. Again the access towards the bathroom. When he will be going to bathroom, he will be going through the passage where there are a lot of vehicles by the sides. These are the trouble. And next is finally when he comes to a bathroom, which is very much needed every person. So here you can see there is a slippery surface, no rail, handrails by the side. So these are the troubles we can see. So by seeing this, overall we can conclude that there was lot of accessibility related physical feature or modification required. We call it retrofitting, and this is something therefore a report which you all can understand the condition of. Thank you. Now we have to thank all of us. So we are thanking first of all our chief guest, Srimati Nilanjana Dasgupta, IAS, State Commissioner of PWD. So we are very thankful to ma'am that ma'am has come. She completed our session and she has given good speech on. Our guest of honor, Professor Subhashish Bhaume, he has given lot of understanding. I really found it very much interesting how the digital accessibility is very important and it should be very much understood. So he has given lot of example of what is going on in his area, in his institute, Shipur, the project that he is seeing, those projects. So we have seen some pictures of videos of. And then we have seen our dynamic HOD, Dr. Lenka sir, our DDA. So he has really, within a very short period of time, I think you must have got some very clear idea of what he was trying to say. So I hope all of you have really learned anything from him. Then ma'am, qualifying ma'am, she has given some idea regarding how the accessibility is in rural side. So in the rural side, accessibility that is given by her, it's also we got some idea how the rural side accessibility is. So that is also we are very much thankful to her. Then our Dr. J. Gangadhar Rao sir, and he has really given his outlook, his perspective. We are very much thankful to sir for your speech. Now I am really thankful to all the NGO personnel who have been here for this program, all the media person, all the media related works, and all the students and patients who are here for watching and being in the program. Apart from this, we had some program on quiz, debate, poster, slogan. So all these programs have got different coordinators and chief guests. I am thankful to all.